What up, everybody? This is another episode of the You, Me, Him, and Her podcast. I am joined this evening by Shy City,
What up?
Mr. Do Soldier,
What's going on? What's going on?
the First Lady of the Pod, Candy, is not with us this evening. She's out conquering the world, being great at the things that she does. So this is going to be a change of pace from the few episodes that we've done with all four of us, mainly because we won't have Candy's insight on this particular pod. But nonetheless, we're gonna try to go ahead and make her proud and keep everything going. So without further ado, we want to get into this very first topic, which is, I think if once you bring this up, pretty much in any setting, is bound to have a few different reactions to it, depending on the side of the argument that you're on, and that's the discussion of God versus religion or versus spirituality. So, with that being said, I guess Shy, like, what do you where do you fit on this spectrum? Do you define each of them differently? Is there one and then they branch off? Like, what are your thoughts?
I would definitely say each one is individual and hold individual weight depending on who you are as a person.
Well, what do you? Well, I'm
I
saying,
think
well,
a
how
lot of
how would yeah, it's okay. So how would you identify that, or what would you identify with in your personal life?
um myself, I'd probably be more spiritual than anything. I think religion's a scam. I think it's a good tool used to keep people together, but it ultimately don't serve a real purpose. Um, when you say God, it's a tough pill to swallow. Thinking of somebody greater than yourself, but I think that's a little bit more believable than most people tend to give themselves credit for. But I definitely say spiritual. Um, I don't know. There's something that's got to connect us all, right? There's too much empathy in the world from a lot of us to not believe we ain't connected in that spiritual sense. So it's always been easier for me to follow that doctrine than any of the other one.
So when you say spiritual, like, is that you meditating? Is that you finding some literature that supports your belief? Like what is spiritual to you?
Spiritual is definitely it's a self awareness. It's a self awareness. Meditating, yes, but more so for mental health and awareness than anything else for myself. Um, there's no one word or one, I guess, one passage I would say that I personally live by. Um, I think we're all our own sense of godship, if you will. I think everybody on this planet has their own moral compass that drives them to do what they think is right to do what they think is wrong. I think there's some things that are across the board are universal. Murder being one of them, how people feel about stealing being another. And I think that's what connects us in that spiritual sense. It's just a sense of awareness, man. It's a sense of understanding that you're not the only person on the planet. It's a sense of shared kinship that really doesn't need to, in my head, go much further than the connection that we have as just all being people. And some people have that ability to make that connection even with animals, to where they're more empathetic to, say dogs than they are, even people. I think that's all just our spirits connect, our energy connected in that sense.
Okay, so I want to switch gears real quick to do you are um, you're definitely not embarrassed to share your beliefs with
Right.
with the site and in over the years and how you view, going to church and bringing your family in the fold and everything. So, what's your take? Like, what is because we all know, well, at least let me speak for myself before I kick it off to you fully. Um, as I've gotten older, I've learned that the church is just mainly the building, right? So we
Mhm.
can, the pastor says, where two or more gather, we can have church. So I think a lot of people get so fixated on the word church or the actual building that they forget about the ceremony that's supposed to be taking place within inside those walls. So how do you navigate, I guess between religion, God, spirituality in your faith, in your walk?
Whew, this is definitely a deep question. And there's a lot of different ways I can go with it. Right now, I think more so than anything, I love philosophy. If I could be like, a teacher or like, what I'm saying, or professor, or could live a different time and the history of man, I would love to been back in those times where they philosophers were like, the people. Because I love that shit. Those conversations. I love I love it, all of it. And when it comes to religion and like the Bible and God as a larger topic, it really is, to me, what makes sense to me is it really just comes down to philosophy. And when it comes down to Christianity, of course, that's been the most exposed to me throughout my life. And I've definitely took my time to look at other religions and study other religions and listen to other beliefs. I've done a lot of reading. I've read, some books by Bertrand Russell, who's like a famous atheist. I think I own like 4 of his books, and they're like all sprinkled through the house and shit. And I've read all these things, I studied all these things, and what I came to as a conclusion and what ultimately got me back into the church, because I left the church for about a good 6-7 years, um, is we really just don't know. And I think the reason why we get to so many debates and arguments and whatnot, because no one can have a strong, concrete, definitive answer. Like, some of the biggest arguments you'll have with people who oppose Christianity or oppose religion as a whole is they don't see the concrete proof. They don't understand how you can build something off of faith. And there has to be a little bit of faith to even entertain these ideas, because we're literally trying to make sense of something we don't understand. We don't know definitively why we are here. We have our theories, which comes back to philosophy, but we really don't know why we were here. We have scientists who study shit with the Big Bang theory, but again, it's a theory. All the creation theories are theories. What caused that? And our natural logic points us towards a higher power. So now, as man, as a collective throughout history, our struggles to understand, connect, or make sense of this higher power. And I honestly do believe we're primitive in a lot of ways, because the best way for us to make sense of it is to make it something that's like us. And the danger in that is what was passed as acceptable was typically by the person who was in power. So when you talk about religion is mostly laws. It's used to control people. So that's the danger in it, because it's like, are these things truly God divine? Like, is divine intervention a real thing? Or is it just people trying to make sense of something and saying that this is the way God intended it because we have the power to say we have the superior understanding to connect with him? So it gets really, really deep. But ultimately, I think the reason why I go back to Christianity is, like what I say again, is the thing I've been most exposed to. And when you really study it and learn it and try to like really appreciate what's actually on the words, without the purposes it's been used for in the past, it's not a bad thing to, like, it's not a bad philosophy to set life by. If you really can subscribe to it, have a little faith. I think the danger runs into it is forcing your beliefs on others. And I know sometimes, I think another danger is taking the word a little bit too literal sometimes, because you have to understand the history of how these words got to be on paper to degree right now. So it's a lot of hands in that. So what's real and what's not. And I think that, from my understanding, it's that the overall message is love and goodwill towards man. So I focus on those messages from the Bible and the Word, and humility, and those good lessons that I think are essential for any person. And I look for the wisdom in those, and I, try to push my life towards that direction, because the ideal of Christ, this person with great morals, this philosophically perfect person, is definitely, not realistic. But when you strive to be something better than yourself, you are making good decisions. So again, like I said, it's a it's a lot of long answers, a lot of short answers, but for the most part, I think it's just living a good life, trying to be Christ-like, trying to be good towards your men, trying to be non-judgmental, but at the same time, exercise wisdom. These are the lessons that I think are essential to any decent human being. So I'm okay with subscribing to that belief system, if that answers the question at all.
Well, so I guess okay. So I guess for me, there are a couple of different things, and I don't want to spend too much time more on this topic, because I think both of you all made some very good points, many of which I agree with. But I think there comes a couple of different situations where you have just straight up non-believers, or rather, let me not say non-believers, but you have people who have been, for lack of a better word, hurt by the people who have basically put this image out there that they are followers of Christ, right? So
Right.
what's the first thing anytime you bring up religion or something? It's like, oh, you praise that white Jesus and this, that, and third. But it's like, well, if you believe you're made in the image of him, then he's not white to me. But
Right.
that aside, let's just say, let's subscribe to the fact that he doesn't look like anything, right? And it's just a being. People get so caught up in, and I touched on it briefly, the actual church building. So they look at your mega preachers and they say, why does he need a jet and all that? And my thing is, like, with anything in life, if you go to a restaurant and you don't like the way that they're treating you, what do? You go to another restaurant. Like, I just don't understand this need to pound your chest and scream to the mountaintops that you don't go to a church. You don't belong to a church because they're all crooked and all. It's like, no, they're not. But again, there are people who make things perverse and take what's pure about worshiping and fellowshipping in church, and then they turn into like a for-profit situation. And then you have the person. It's like every time you want to you want to talk about something good in your life that you felt has been I guess, a reward or of a higher power or something like that, then it's somebody else shooting you down. It's like, oh, you still praying to that God in the sky or whatever like that. And it was like, okay, so what do you want? What do you want now? Like, what are we doing here? So I think what people need to let go of is this one hat fits all approach when it comes to
Oh,
religion,
definitely. Yeah.
right? So yeah, so it's like, I feel like if you, and both of y'all touched on it, where you were talking about, like, if you have a good moral fiber, or you have a moral cloth or whatever that keeps you from, stealing, or keeps you from harming somebody or whatever like that, whatever it is that keeps you grounded or whatever, or gives you some sense of right and wrong, keep going towards that. Keep going towards that, because ultimately, that's what's going to separate you from those people who don't have that sense of moral fiber, or I guess spiritual connection. Now, I think I think there should be more positive examples of people when you have these situations where you belong to a church home and you all are doing good in the community. Like those situations should be highlighted as well, instead of the big mega churches who are constantly asking members for money, because that's a whole nother conversation. Like I don't know why people act like,
Mhm.
fellowship and discipleship and evangelism is free. It once was, but we're in the age now. You're only as good as your last service, right? So that stuff costs money. It costs money to get the word out, whether that's via social media, radio, internet. Like this stuff costs money, and it's not free. And yes, while churches file under the, what is it, the ah, shoot, the 103C or whatever. I forget the tax code that they
it's
qualify under.
definitely a racket. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, even though they file under that and they don't pay taxes, that still does not guarantee them free stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Oh,
this whole notion to suggest that you shouldn't give money to church, and what are they gonna do for the community? And I'm a person here could tell like I've belonged to a few churches where we've given things away to the community, like people who
Oh yeah,
will
yeah,
never step foot in our church, and,
right,
and
yeah.
we've been right there feeding them, clothing them, putting gas in their cars. And it's
Paint
just like
bills.
it's nothing, no hidden messages, no catch 22s. It's just like, listen, if you don't have anything to do, yeah, just come holler at us. If not,
There
God
goes the
bless.
first
You know what
man.
I'm saying? So man, that was kind of deep to start the
Let me
part.
say one more
You
thing
got
real
something
quick.
else?
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
one more thing. I, and I don't know if Shy want to jump back in here or not. But I just want to say this real quick. People are way too big headed, and I think that's the biggest problem with religion and churchy people in general, and especially the ones who love to throw scripture around, because anybody could do that. You know what I'm saying? Anybody, I could. And the thing is, my favorite scripture, I'm just going to say it real quick, just to keep it real churchy, Ephesians 2:8. For his grace you have been saved through faith. This is not from yourselves, it's a gift of God, not by works, no man can boast. And basically, why I love that scripture so much is because it's pretty much talking to people who love to brag about how sanctified and saved and how great they are. It's like you gotta be careful with your testimony. You gotta be careful with your bragging. You gotta be careful with your flossing, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because not that I mean, the word, the scripture has said could tell you that, what I'm saying, you can't boast because this is not something you earn. This is something, I'm saying, he decided to give you, what I'm saying, because of faith. But I just think people gotta get past themselves and stop thinking that, or they're not going to, clearly. But the thing is, I think the biggest issue with religion and issue with, like, people negative experiences with the church, and people who are always trying to force it down their throat or taking this whole holier than thou stance is, that's a turnoff. It's not a good representation of really understanding, in my point. And if you really just learn to appreciate, this for what it was, and you look at the philosophy behind it, I think people will realize that being humble is a much better path to spirituality, connection, relationship with God, which I think is all about. We don't understand this being. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't even look at God's good or evil, because right now, if people talk about, well, how can God be good if all the bad things happen in the world? It's like, yo, if you step on an ant right now, is that evil or good? Or is it not even a fucking consideration because you see yourself as a higher being than an ant on the ground? How do we think that what happens to us, to a being that's that great, can be even be conceived as good or bad? You know what I'm saying? So I think we think way too highly of ourselves, and a lot of religions, Christianity, Muslim, you know what I'm saying, Taoism, Buddhism, they preach about being humble. And I think that's, in my opinion, like, one of the overwhelming messages: humbleness, goodwill towards other, love, and peace. I didn't want to go too much longer, but this is a topic I can go on for hours talking about, clearly. But I just definitely want to say that before we moved on. Shall you got anything else in this report?
Yeah, I think it's important to note. I think, AP said it a little earlier, as far as um, people getting in their feelings or feeling a certain type of way about it. I think as you get older, you kind of understand where you sit with your own belief system. I think it's very. I'm a person that believes that whatever you got to do to get off is cool. Like if you're a person that need that sense of fellowship, you need that sense of worship with others. By all means, join 100 churches. If you're a person who does the self medication, who prefer to seek that knowledge on their own, that works also. To your point, dude, nobody knows what the end of that road looks like. You're basing everything that you have off of faith, whether you have a lot, whether you have a little. That
Right.
hey, in the end, I'm going to be right in how I so choose. But again, that underlying issue that keeps us all together, the one thing that I think should hold true for most people walking on the planet is that sense of humbleness. It's that sense of um, greater than I. What I'm doing on the planet makes a bigger impact than just for self. And I think a lot of people get lost in it, whether it's because of how much money they've earned, whether it's because of how hurt they've been by putting the faith in the wrong people and the people that didn't really
Right.
speak to them. Um, Either or, a lot of times we lose sight of that, and a lot of times we lose sight on what it means to be humble, and that's simply accepting people how they are. I couldn't see myself arguing about religion. I probably haven't had a religious conversation get heated in about, I don't know, 5, 6 years, just because I literally have that stance. If that's what you need to be a better person, rock with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Whatever. What do you call it? Detonation? No, that ain't the right word.
Rod said that
Denomination. There we go.
Francis, I remember. He said, if Allah can make him a better man than Jesus, I'm all for it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's all about how do you truly want to be. I feel like a lot of people jump on that quote unquote church way to be holier than now. I've run into a lot of that in my life. Where people get, especially when they get on. I know sometimes in that circle, call them born again Christians, and they get on, and there's a sense of air and authority about them. Like, hey, I know something you don't know, and it's like, relax, my guy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
taking a stab in the dark. That don't give you a free license to shit on how I believe. But
Right.
I'll say this: I get along with more non religious people than I do with religious. I just have a very low tolerance for people who are in the church so much that it's all they can talk about and it consumes. I'd rather
Right.
just not chill with.
AP?
Yeah, I
Thank
feel all
you.
of that. I just want to clarify my position that I'm not saying that you have to belong to a church. Only thing I'm saying is if you have a situation where you feel like the church you're going to is not meeting your spiritual needs and guidance, because you still
Mhm.
are supposed to study to show thyself approved. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
But if you feel like you're at a place where they're just not, feeding you spiritually, they're not filling your soul, leave. You can go find another one. Like there's
Yeah.
no crime against joining another church or another organization. I'll say that will give you what you're looking for or whatever. And then if you find that that place is your sofa on a Sunday, okay, that's cool too. Like you don't get cool points for being a member of a church. You don't get any more points for sitting on the sofa looking at an evangelistic service on Sundays or whatever. So just kind of, again, what works for you, but let's always try to be respectful of what other people do in their personal spiritual lives, and stop trying to do this one size fits all approach. So good intro, fellas. On the next
Hallelujah.
Yeah. The next topic is lying by omission. I'm interested in this one. I have no idea what the hell this means. Who wants to talk about this?
I start this one off real quick. Line by mission. Like, all right, peep game.
Now, is it admission or omission?
Omission. That means you
Okay.
don't tell someone the full truth. Like you tell them the truth, but you leave out key details. Like if you meet somebody and y'all talking for a minute, you know what I'm saying? And they like, yo, you ain't got no man enough. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I had a situation, but we not together no more. You know what I mean? It's still
Mhm.
lingering, but we not together. What would you mean? Really rather not get into it right now. Y'all continue to date for a while. Niggas a whole husband. Like they married. You know what I'm saying? They was going through a separation, whether it be legal or not legal. But she didn't tell you she was married. She didn't say it was separation. She said not together. Saying not together is true because the motherfuckers are separated. But she's
Right.
100% lying by omission. You
Mm.
understand now?
Okay. All right. So. All right. Okay. So damn. What? Uh, how do I want to say this? what? I don't know. Like, how does it even get to this point? Like, at some point, like, are there people who? Because this definitely doesn't sound like side piece territory. Because at least side pieces, for the most part, know that they're side pieces. So this doesn't seem like somebody's been sold a dream. At least the way I'm thinking of it. I don't know. What you think, Sha?
I think it can be. I mean, but not even looking at it from the standpoint of man and woman. Just anytime that you have the opportunity to give your version of events, or you're asked upon to give your version of what happens, and you leave something out. It's to me, it's lying by omission. I'm a big fan that lying to me breaks down to two things: either you embarrassed by the truth, or you were telling the truth to put yourself in a better position of power. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only two
Break
reasons
that
for
down.
me
Break
that
that
I
down
can
for
think.
me. Break that down for me.
Well, as we talk about being embarrassed by the truth, I think of children. You know what I'm saying? When you tell a
Right.
child, "Hey, who wrote on the wall?" and now everybody's quiet. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm embarrassed by truth. You know, I'm embarrassed by and by a product of that, I'm afraid of what's going to happen to me next. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Okay.
You don't want to take credit for these things because you now see that amongst your peers or amongst whoever you're around, hey, this wasn't a good idea. This wasn't a good decision. So you lie about it or you double down on that lie about it because deep down you are ashamed of what the truth is. Or again, you're looking to better your position in power. You know, you might withhold a lie at work and you might not tell the whole truth or you might lie about a version of events because it's going to get that next person fired and it's going to get you that promotion. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Or you're not going to be looked at in a certain light. So now you're able to go up. And as it pertains to relationships, and do you guys, we talked about this before when we talk about relationships, that honeymoon phase, right? You want everything to be perfect so that it looks as if, hey, we have no flaws. Everything's going great. I'm the perfect ideal match for you. When in reality, you know, oh man, if I say this, she might dip, or if I release this info, he might dip, and now you've lost that position of power. So, anytime that I catch somebody in a lie, or anytime I suspect somebody lying, again, I fall back to those two things: is this person going to be embarrassed by the truth, or is this person trying to put themselves in a position of power? And so, most of the time, when I find people that are lying by omission, i.e., only telling part of the truth, it's a power play behind it. You know what I'm saying? They know, hey, I can give you this much truth, and um, it's gonna angle your thoughts. It's gonna angle how you perceive the next version of events, and that's gonna get me to a better position later. You know, I can always come back and circle around to filling in those gaps, but at that time, I'm already in my position to where it's no longer gonna affect me in a negative way. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm. This is probably the first topic we've had. I don't have an example for. Like,
Mm.
I honestly, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too deep about it, but I'm trying to think of a situation where either I know this has happened to me, or even if I've subconsciously done it. Um, hmm.
Well, AP, like look at the whole not snitching thing. Like, say your homegirl, your homeboy is, you know what I'm saying, told his girl that he was chilling with you last night and he was sleeping on your couch.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And his girl calls your phone looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to lie to her because you fucks with her.
Hmm.
So you find a way to tell the truth without
I got you.
lying.
Okay, yeah. So that's definitely, man. Damn. Yeah, that's definitely happened to me before, and I felt terrible afterwards. And
Right. You still
I
lie, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You know
Okay,
what
yeah.
though? The way I look at it, I definitely as the ABW resident liar, everybody's been calling me a liar lately, and that's a popular thing to run with, and I'm not going to deny it because I definitely dabble with exaggerations and embellishments and lying by omission. I'm definitely guilty of a lot of that shit, and I think to me is deeper than surface level. That's why I don't feel bad about my lying. I will never feel bad. I will never apologize for lying to anybody on the site about anything. I really, I 100%, I 100% truthfully
Uh-oh.
believe people like to be lied to. People look for the truth. People don't people don't want to live in a world of reality. No matter how real people say they are, they do not want to live in reality. The reality they want to live in is the one by choice. So they'll pick and choose what truths they want to believe. I mean, even down to your Facebook and Twitter follows. If someone does not align with the reality that you want to see every day, they're gonna unfollow them because they want a feed that's full of what they want to see. People see what they want to see. They hear what they want to hear. They so a lot of times when it comes to lying by omission, like Rashad was saying, to better position, to more so to keep the truth, whatever quote unquote quotations truth that they want to live in, to maintain whatever what I'm saying direction they want to go in, to manipulate wherever the case may be. If someone wants something to be true, they'll leave
Bad
out.
enough. Yeah.
They'll leave out anything that contradicts that. You know what I'm saying, if I want this to be what it is, if I want, even coming down to lying to themselves, it's like
Mhm.
if you want to believe your wife or your husband is faithful, you'll conveniently dismiss anything that contradicts that, and you'll
Mm,
lie to yourself by omission,
mm.
Yep.
by just completely ignoring shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's a lot of different motivations, but I think the main motivation is to maintain the perception or the truth that people want to see. People lie to themselves because they want to see what they want to see. That's like from the king of all lies, do.
Well, I guess okay. So, well, for one, I don't think anybody thinks you're a liar, liar. You know what I'm saying? That's just that. I think every now and then a good embellishment, it can be the difference between your story being extremely funny and just like, okay, where's I'm waiting for the good stuff to happen. Like,
Right.
where's the good part of the story? So yeah, I think we've all embellished a bit when we've told a story here and there. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. I don't think you're like a total liar. Like, you would lie about some stuff that definitely didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And then make that end up being the truth, and everybody's running with that. But I don't know. That guess that bridges off into another conversation about why people like being lied to, or why people and it goes hand in hand also with kind of like never meet your idols, right? Because you've
Yeah.
you've you've had this image of this one particular person in your mind, and then because you've allowed them to lie to you and sell you, this image,
Perception. Yeah.
yeah, this perception about themselves, so that when you finally see them and they're nothing like that, it's like now you got the decision to make. You can either continue to go along with it, or cut them off entirely and just be like, yo, this is not what I thought it was. Because it's like one of them situations where you know better, hopefully you do better. But
Mm.
But yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
definitely been in one of them situations where your homeboy girl calling looking for him, and technically you didn't lie, but you definitely didn't tell the whole truth. But then what ends up happening, what ends up happening is when it backfires, and instead of the girl getting mad at the dude, getting mad at your homeboy, she gets mad at you. And I'm like, so you're more mad at me that I protected him than him lying to you and putting me in a position in the first place to lie to you. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
when you lie
Or rather,
again.
right? And yeah,
That's
so
when you lie again.
man, listen. After that, I learned my lesson. I was like, man, don't tell me shit. I don't want to know what's going on in your situation. Matter of fact, don't come to my house. We'll meet. We'll meet up somewhere, nigga. If you didn't show up, nigga, I went home. I don't know. I
Double
don't know.
down,
That's exactly what
HP.
I'm gonna say. Yeah, I don't know where I showed up. I waited for 10 minutes. He didn't show up and then that's a whole nother, I guess, a whole nother topic about like loyalty to your partners. Because I didn't, I've had a lot of situations where my loyalty was tested, and here it is thinking I'm taking one for the team, and I end up, burning another bridge, and
Hmm.
and then they going off happily ever after like nothing happened. So
And then you
yeah,
get called a liar for covering
bruh,
for him.
don't get me started, bruh. I'll be all day, man. 2
Yeah,
minutes stories,
told you
but
get
that
deep, man. That's why you double down. You
yeah,
lie again. You look them dead in the face and be like, "Look, I was just working with the knowledge I had, sweetheart. I apologize."
let
You're not
me
even really sorry.
yeah. Let me get off this subject, man, before I
No,
start
Shy got
telling
something to say.
stories.
Cause I
What,
laughing.
what,
What
you,
you
what,
got,
you, what,
Shy?
what you got, Shay?
Listen, it's a slippery slope, right? It's a slippery slope with telling the lie and then holding true to that lie. It's a slippery slope. Um, and the dude's point, he says something that is absolutely true. People love being lied to. That's not a person who's going to listen to that um, and say that's not true, because I'm sure that person has a favorite movie, and I guarantee that movie more often than not is delved in a series of lies versus the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's why fantasy is such a big genre. It's why
Right.
fiction and books is such a big genre. It's why the story behind why what happened to your favorite athlete is more important than the actual event in and of itself, right? People love to be, for lack of a better term, entertained, and you can only get that through the mastery of lying, through the mastery of being creative. They say one of the biggest signs of consciousness was the ability to be creative, to lie, to see outside of what truth is, because it's so unnatural, right? It goes against nature. Nature has very few creatures and plants that are deceptive from the jump. So
Right.
we love that idea of lying to us, and it truly is what I think in most people's world creates that sense of being. You can see people who are in, those dramatic relationships. Like you say, you have a homeboy who's constantly cheating on this girl, and she's getting mad at you for lying, but not mad at him, because reality is she loves that situation. You know what I'm saying? Or he loves that situation. It's what allows them to wake up the next morning in a lot of cases because of the other things they got going on in their life. Um, yeah, I think that's slowly becoming my favorite phrase, my favorite term. People love being lied to. It
Yeah. Yo,
just is
dog.
what it is.
Yo, magic shows. Why the fuck are magic shows so popular? Like,
Don't
Tell
know.
us.
David Copperfield, what, damn near billionaire. He probably would be a billionaire if he didn't spend all the money he make. He definitely made over a billion in his career. The greatest illusions of all time. Why does he make so much money? People spend retarded money to watch this nigga do shit on stage they know not true, but it looks amazing. People love to be lied to. That's why. That's why I was like, we were talking about religion. I was like, you know why? Like, if all religions are a lie, pick the prettiest one. That's why. Hey, I like this one the best. This story about God. If all of them are fake, this one is probably the most entertaining. So I'm gonna rock with this one.
Mm, interesting. Interesting.
True.
All right. All right, fellas, another good one. We 2 for 2, in my opinion. Let's go for the trifecta. Kids sports. I don't have the slightest clue. Why are we talking about kids sports this evening, fellas?
Shy.
Man, I didn't throw that shit in the hat, man. I don't know. I don't know. In my head, I hear the topic and I think about parents living vicariously through their kids.
Okay.
Man,
So,
I got a homeboy.
I just said, all right, we can talk about parents living vicariously through their kids. And also we'll talk about a meme I saw right before we started recording. I died laughing. They was like, yo, kids football is about to be canceled for this season. That means all these coaches are going to find another way to get some pussy this fall. That's another thing about kids sports. Coaches fucking these single moms. And these parents living vicariously through their children. These are two great things that happen around kids sports with the kids. Let's talk about this shit. This is great. And you're a referee to AP. Let's talk about it.
all right. Oh man, I don't know where to start. So I'm trying to be careful how I word this, but I'll just say in general observations, there are a lot of parents. Everybody wants their kid to be the next LeBron, right? And I think what we as parents have to get to a point and accept that we cannot continue to put these unnecessary pressures on our children to be the lotto ticket, the one that's going to get us out so we don't have to work ever again. Like, let the kids be kids, support what they want to do, show up to the practices when you can, show up to the games when you can, and just support them, man. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen the parents of the child who rides the pine, but they're at every game. They supporting the team, they supporting the kid because that's something the kid wants to be doing. That kid could be at home locked in a room playing video games all day, or they could be, turning to drugs or something. I don't know, but that parent is there supporting their child because that's what's important to them, right? So you have that aspect of it where the parents, or they're hoping that their kid is the next LeBron James. Then you have the coaches who feel like they're the next Phil Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So they're super animated. They think they're running plays and all this kind of stuff, and they think that they can do what they've seen done on TV, what coaches do to officials and stuff like that, and think that there are no repercussions for it, right? And then so it's like you have to have a lot of thick skin in order to like officiate sports because the pay is cool. It's some nice pocket change, man. But like just the egos and the attitudes that come with trying to, babysit not only children but babysit adults. So then you have so then you have the kids who have been pretty much coddled since they could dribble with their offhand. And now they're looking at you like they're Russell Westbrook. They're looking for a foul call and all this kind of stuff. Like, man, if you don't get out my face. But listen, I don't want to make this whole pot about refereeing. But what are your takes? Because you seem very excited to talk about this. What do you got? Dude, are you on mute?
I'm here, man. My bad, dog. I'm here. My bad. I thought you was trying to get Shine there. Nah, man. It's interesting, man. Like with me and my son, I definitely want my son to get into sports, but I am definitely not going to be that parent that's like, losing his shit if he's not good at it, because I really don't have a very strong faith that he's going to excel at it because he's so fucking hard-headed. So it's like I really see him struggling with it more than anything, and I would just be supportive of that struggle. Mm-hmm. Even with my daughter, my daughter is showing that she loves to dance. You know what I mean? I would love to get her to dance. But even the same way, I think because I understand, I guess, not being great at everything, so I would never put unreasonable expectations of my children. I don't want you to be great, but I do want you to try hard, so I think that would probably be my more thing than anything. I don't want you to give up. I want you to push through, but I don't think I will fault my kids for not being great.
Shy. What you
I
got?
think that's a. I think that it's, when you talk about living vicariously through your kids, when you talk about hoping for that next big break, hoping that they become the next one. I think it's a fine line between being obsessive and being supportive. One thing, and we're all parents. You got to know is children fall in and out of love with hobbies all the time, right?
All
They fall in and out of love with the shit that they want to do. Today, basketball might be their life, and tomorrow they never want to pick it up again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then again, for parents, it's that fine line from being um, obsessive and just showing that general support and understanding everybody ain't gonna be LeBron. Like LeBron isn't LeBron because his mother and his stepfathers or daddies, how many ever he had, stayed on his ass about basketball. He's LeBron because he truly loved the sport. He loved the ins and out of it. He loves how the game works. He loves how the background works as far as management and such goes. And so it's really a passion of his. And I think that's okay. I think even you have guys that make it to the league and are completely okay with being role players. I think of players like Lou Williams. I think of Jamal Crawford. I think of cats that don't need to be that number one or that number two option. You know what I'm saying? They're
yeah,
completely okay with being that third, fourth option that help on a collective team. And so in my head, um, I don't see those guys coming from households and having parents that was too far over that obsessive line. I think a lot of times, again, coaches get obsessive. They want to be recognized for having a say in this child's talent and this child's nurturing. And we always just, I don't know, seem to forget that ultimately it's depending on the child. Like I couldn't see myself leaving my fairly cushy career to push my child to be, the next fucking Cam Newton. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't do it. Like I couldn't use my child as a backup plan. Like
right.
for me, hell yeah, push it. I'm gonna put as much as I can into. And if you go somewhere from, and not just sports, but any um, form of career, I'm gonna push it. But I'm not going to stop what I'm doing um, to get you there, I guess. Unless we're all the way at the back end of high school, we're at the beginning end of college, and you've shown that hey, this is a passion of mine. That this is something I definitely want to pursue, whether it's here locally, whether I gotta go, you know, overseas to play. I just want to play. I just want to play. Then I'll consider, all right, let me stop what I'm doing and try to put more effort into it. But I just feel like, man, a lot of times parents get obsessive because they hope, especially in our community, they hope this is their meal ticket out. And that's I don't know. I always frown upon that when it comes to kids. You shouldn't be looking at your kids as it should be reversed. You should
It's
be getting your kids
validation.
out the hood.
It's validation. They want to be seen great at something. You know what I mean? So sometimes this is all they got. That's all they got left. Especially if it was like for a lot of dudes that was like playing the same sport when they was younger and they was known as the football nigga, known as the basketball nigga, and they didn't make it as good as they want to. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
They still want that same notoriety, so they push that shit through their kids sometimes. You know what I mean? With chicks, you know what I'm saying, who feel like, you know what I mean, as a great parent, so you know what I'm saying, they push the shit out their kids, you know what I'm saying? The kids be good at sports, they like, you know what I mean, it validates them to say, yeah, I'm a great parent because you see my child's success.
I think what's most important, and I touched on it to kick the subject off, is just be there for your kids. I mean, you don't
Yep.
know how much you
Right.
showing up, watching them perform will do for their self esteem. Because guess what? They may not excel in sports, but they'll excel in something in life, and then look back and then give you your flowers for always being there to support them while they try to figure stuff out.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like I said, I've seen every type of parent out there at these type of events, and it's sad. To be honest with you, I mean, but it's also good when you see those parents who are cheering in, that their kid who literally only gets in when the team is up by like 50, and it's like 2 minutes left in the game, and they're checking in, and they're cheering that kid on like he just scored 45 points. You know what I mean? So that's what I like about doing what I do on the side, because those are those moments that make it be like, okay, cool. This, I was glad to see, one of these kids actually out here having fun instead of, you know, um, some don't go their way and they throwing a basketball and hitting a chair and all that stuff because they lose sight of what's supposed to be important about team sports and a team dynamic
Right. Yeah.
because you've ingrained in their brain that they have to be this great, like again they have to be LeBron James at 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? And one thing Shy
Number
said,
one.
yeah, I thought he was going to go there. LeBron James is LeBron James because he's 6'8" with like 2% body fat. It was in the deck of cards. That's what he was going to do with his life. You know what I mean? So it's like when, when you have this kid and you're in the 12th grade and you hadn't hit like a 6 foot growth spurt by then, it's time you start looking at some other options. B. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe hoops, unless you're super exceptional, hoops just might not be your calling, and that's okay. Find what is your calling and be great at that. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about the kid sports thing. Like, I wasn't sure where we were gonna go with that topic, but I like the way that we kind of segued into it.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
I did want to use the last couple of minutes, at least of my time, before I turn it over to the other guys. I wanted to thank Duke personally. We recorded a pod, just the two of us, where we talked about self motivation and what you do when you've lost self motivation, when
Yeah.
you've burned out and you feel like you need to find something to push through. So that was a very good conversation. Y'all look out for that. It was a nice quick pod that he and I were able to just get on and talk about for a minute or two, and then wanted to wish my other co-host a happy belated birthday, sir.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you,
Happy
my man.
birthday.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, man, keep those blessings coming. Man, wish you many more. And that's all I got for this episode. What you guys got?
Shy.
Shot?
Yeah, I look forward to hearing the joint y'all drop. For everybody that's listening, I know we missed a couple. I'm understanding, it's at times going to be difficult, with all the stuff we all have going on for different individuals that have full lives outside of this. We may have some times where we all don't link up. Um, I think the goal going forward is to get something out so that we have something out every week. But ultimately, I think we shouldn't be too many episodes like this. You'll have all four of us ready to go. Again, appreciate the love. Birthdays are odd things, man. Thankfully, Kansas have the best one, so we got one more day. I don't want to time date the pod, but we got one more day, Kansas. If you out there, celebrate it, do it big. We'll be back 2021, ready to go strong again from the end of June to the end of July. So, crabs up.
And
All
Leo
right.
season coming right in. My birthday is August 1st. No one forget that because it is the greatest day of all time.
Dude, let me
But
tell
yeah,
you something, bro. You and my ex-wife share the same birthday. Y'all are
yeah,
so similar. It's not even funny.
that's very, very weird.
Hey, all right, pause. Pause.
I don't know how to take that shit. We hear something even weirder. Me and my wife's father share the same birthday. Yeah, that bugged me
Yeah.
out too. Yeah, we have the exact same birthday, yo. Like, so many fucking jokes I've thrown at that nigga for that shit, yo. Oh my god, yo. Like we had like a birthday cookout like pretty much every year, yo. And she was like, "Hey, birthday, daddy," and he was like, "Thank you." I was like, "Yo, she wasn't talking to you."
Yeah, this dude, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, he's definitely out of pocket.
Out
Yo,
of
he was
pocket.
Dude,
tight.
Hey,
definitely out of
that's
Yo,
a
pocket.
topic. That's a topic.
he was tight, son. He was tight. Oh
Dude,
my
dude
god.
is out of pocket,
But
man.
yeah, yo, I appreciate the fact that y'all really are seeing my sayings that I lead and like it's leaving impressions on your life. That lets me know that I'm doing everything right. Never meet your idols. Niggas like being lied to. People see what they want to see. Yo, these are words to live by. The doisms, yo. I'm gonna keep giving them to y'all, yo. My next one is gonna be even better, yo. I'm gonna let the people see what they want to see rock for a little bit, but a new one's coming, yo, because I see that I'm making an imprint on your life.
All right, man. Listen.
Hey,
Once again,
arrogant.
I wanted to send a special shout out to the first lady of the pod, Candy. You were missed. Can't wait to get you back in the studio and with Craig, and
That,
we can go ahead and cook something. So you know, continue to be great at whatever you're doing, and we'll link up when our schedules permit. That's it for this episode, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, when it drops, leave us some feedback. No giveaways because we're not doing no giveaways without Candy. So yeah, all you bastards that like free shit, not today. All right, but we will continue to embark on our black enterprise, black business, black dollar journey. But we'll got to get with Candy and see what's the next giveaway. So with that being said, I'm your boy AP. Shy, tell the people bye.
yeah.
Do signing off.
Deuces.
And remember, your pod ain't shit. Let's Tony put a dubs on it.
All right.
Dubs in memory of Candy. Later.
Deep drop.
All right.
And let me tell Craig, get us out of here. Dubs, you should have been playing the music by now. And we gonna
That
leave
smooth
y'all
jazz.
again. Yeah, play that smooth, that Silver Fox ETO. Y'all check out that boy. His music is on Spotify. I think it's still on Google Play. I think he was trying to get it on Tidal, but check out the little bro and let him know what y'all think of his music. And we gone.